All right. So we'll jump into our first topic here. We want to start with Uvalde, right? So over the last few weeks, we've had some pretty stark updates from Uvalde police. Let's see here. Sorry, let me get the correct window pulled up. Let's see. Okay. So two of the things that we've seen, two of the bigger things that we've seen is video footage came out from, Robb Elementary, right? And in this video footage, there are some screenshots in which we can see police officers 3, maybe 5 minutes into the actual event at the school have rifles and a ballistic shield at the end of the hallway. We found out that there are two doors that go into that room that were unlocked, that were not attempted at any point in time, while the chief of the Uvalde police fumbled with his keys and said that he was looking for the key that would work for the door. And, every minute he's just more stressed and more stressed and more stressed. Excuse me.
Excuse you.
We have also seen an extreme amount of pushback from everywhere, from Uvalde police all the way up to the state government, pushing back on releasing documentation about the shooting itself, the event itself, pushing back on releasing body camera footage and different documentation that lead into it. And
I'm fairly sure that to this day we don't have body camera footage, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So let's see here. This is one, again, that I have from the New York Post. New York Post, we use them a lot, and part of the reason we use them so much is really just because they don't ever ask us to subscribe to their shit. We can always use the New York Post. So I just sent you that article.
I do kind of go to them more regularly after Sora Bamari kind of went over to the New York Post as one of the lead editors after leaving Commentary magazine. Just because I was familiar with him and his thinking.
Right.
And I trusted the New York Post's editorial staff a little bit more because I actually knew somebody a little bit that went to run that department.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, people forget that he used to be on Commentary a lot.
So this is the New York Post article that we have here. City of Uvalde is trying to avoid handing over records on the Texas school district's embattled police chief and the botched police response to the school massacre, despite multiple requests from the Post and various other media outlets. Lawyers hired by the city wrote to Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton last week, laying out 52 reasons why they shouldn't have to adhere to the numerous requests for records under the state's sunshine laws. The law enforcement response to the massacre that left 19 kids and 2 teachers dead has come under intense scrutiny after it was revealed the school district police chief, Pete Arredondo, didn't immediately storm classrooms to kill the gunman. In the wake of the May 24th shooting, the Post requested all audio from 911 calls, including some made from the terrified students, as the gunman stormed into Robb Elementary School. Records related to the embattled police chief were requested by other media outlets. In the letter, lawyers representing the city asked AG Paxton to rule on whether the information requested by media outlets is, quote, accepted from disclosure under the Public Information Act. The city's claims that the requested information is not information that is collected, assembled, or maintained under a law or ordinance or in connection with the transaction of official business by a government body or for a government body is exempted from disclosure, the letter signed by attorney Cynthia Trevino says. The AG's attorney didn't immediately respond to the Post's request for comment. Arredondo has largely been blamed for the botched police response to the school massacre after he ordered law enforcement to try and negotiate with the gunman, allowing almost an hour to pass before a group made up of mostly U.S. Border Patrol agents bucked orders and stormed in. So, this is speculation from my end. And I imagine if they're unwilling to release the body camera footage, it's probably because there's some debate amongst the police officers themselves about what they should do.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to say I understand, because I think that it's a bullshit justification of, it's totally a good Germans thing of like, oh, I'm just following orders. I have to, that's what my chief said. I have to listen. That's what my commanding officer said. I have to listen. Right. To which I would ask you, would you rather be the person explaining to the chief why kids are dead, or like, would you rather be explaining to the parents why their children are dead, or explaining to the police chief why you didn't listen to your commanding officer and you saved children? Mm-hmm. I would rather explain why I didn't listen to my commanding officer than explain to parents why their children are dead because I chose to sit at the end of a hallway and not do what I knew what was right within myself.
Mm-hmm. And I think we talked about this before, but the oath that a police officer swears when they become inducted into the actual law enforcement once they pass academy and so on and so forth. Can vary from state to state, but what kind of human being are you that is in a position of authority in law enforcement?
Lethal authority.
Lethal authority, where you choose to fall back on the, well, I was just following orders instead of saving people. How much of a piece of shit are you that you would sit there probably 15, 20 feet away from an active shooter who's murdering children, and you're just going to go, I was just following orders, man. You're a fucking piece of shit.
Oh, he told me not to go in. I couldn't go.
There was nothing I could do.
Yeah.
The door was unlocked, and my police chief said, wait.
We all had rifles, and someone had a shield, and we still couldn't go in.
Yep.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah, because this fucked up piece of shit, as the NPR guys, Orlando.
I love that so much.
Okay, you know what? If you're gonna try to be culturally friendly and try to use some accents when you're pronouncing people's name, you don't need to do it to this giant ass piece of shit. Okay, you don't need to be friendly to him. Nobody gives a fuck what his name is. He's the biggest piece of shit in the country right now, and you should have just done what you knew was correct and tried to fucking save some people.
This article says that Arredondo he ordered law enforcement to try and negotiate with the gunman. So let's see.
Which I thought...
Uvalde, Texas negotiator tried phoning school shooter. Oh my God. A negotiator tried futilely to reach the Uvalde, Texas school shooter on the phone as cops waited to take out the crazed gunman, and terrified kids called 911 begging for help. He literally tried to send in tried to have a negotiator call when... You've got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was that testified in front of the state Congress, but they were saying, they even called it the Columbine Doctrine. There's a set of rules based on the Columbine school shooting that lays out what you should do. And it says, stop the fighting.
Yeah.
So stop the shooting. That's insane.
Period. From everything that I've heard so far at this point, every single officer that has showed up on that scene had standing orders to engage the shooter regardless of circumstance upon arrival. None of them did that. Every single one of these people. And including the Border Patrol people that actually finally went in to do that. I'm telling you, as a human being who is ready and capable of engaging in that scenario as a law enforcement officer, whether federal, state, or local, you should not have a job right now if you did not go in and do that. Period. What is your fucking job? It's to stand out. It's to follow orders, like you're in the military. Military is slightly different. Like, we could talk about rules of engagement and so on. You're a civilian law enforcement officer, dude. There's people in there with their rights being actively infringed upon, and you refuse to do anything because your boss says not to. In the military world, we call that an illegal order, and we say, fuck you, we're doing it anyways, and we move in and we take care of business.
Yeah, exactly. I understand even like the commanding order. You know, I understand the chain of command that exists, like I said, in the military and in the police. I understand that. But there's, just like we were talking about with all of these other topics, when you're talking about with Roe or with gun rights, your morals stand above this. Your rights stand above this. Yeah. If you know that this is wrong, what you're being ordered to do is wrong, it is incumbent upon you to do the right thing, especially, as you said, placed in a position of lethal authority.
Yeah.
You have a rifle of the exact same qualifications that the shooter has. We're supposed to believe that you individually can outmatch him with the same firearm. You're better trained. You're a police officer, right?
Yeah.
Fucking kill him.
Regardless.
He is killing children in that room right there.
Yep.
Fucking kill him.
Go now.
And now there's 7 of you. There's 10 of you. There's 19 of you at a certain point, and you still don't do anything.
Yeah. In my personal opinion, every single one of these law enforcement officers should be, what's the equivalent of being disbarred from law enforcement ever again? You know, I don't think there is such a thing, but
just completely stripped of your badge.
You are not allowed to do this anymore. You've already proved that you are incapable or unwilling to do your job. You will never again hold a law enforcement position, period, full stop. And you're lucky if we don't charge you as an accessory to the murder of these kids, because you refused to act when you had the means and you had the authority. Every time we get an update about Uvalde, it gets worse and worse and worse. And on top of that, they're going to demolish the school.
Yes.
Can I just
they're gonna
say
tear the school
that
down
you
now.
can't, bro, I don't know who needs to get involved here. I am not one for government authority. Listen to part 3 or 4 if you want confirmation on that. But we don't have all the answers yet. We never got any answers for Vegas. The Las Vegas shooting,
No.
we didn't get any answers at all. This school should not be demolished until we have a 100% accurate recountment of exactly what happened. And if they do demolish the school before that happens, all you're going to do is you're going to breed more and more dissent and conspiracy out of that.
All the
Because
stuff that goes on with Sandy Hook, yeah, it's just
about
gonna-
as sus as you could be, you're going to
Yeah.
do the worst and most suspicious thing ever. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the support, but it was never a problem. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't. Hey, man.
Excellent.
I have also been down that road as well. It happens, man. Sometimes you get going down a road, and good on you for recognizing that and being, I'm just going to take a break for a minute. Everybody, I believe, should have some form of a sober October, if you will, to use the Joe Rogan phrase. Give yourself a month where you have a vice that you don't do anymore. Catholics call it Lent. It's a good deal, man. I
Yes,
like
they
it
do.
because it's a good thing to prove
Break
that there's
period.
something out there that you don't need.
Yeah.
And then you can go back to it even more after that and be like, yeah, I'm back into this because I know I can give it up. I don't want to make light of that situation, bro. Good on you for taking some time off.
No, I'm here for it. So as we said last week, this is, as far as Uvalde goes, this is what happens when you leave your protection up to the state. It's not a good look, and this is why it's so important that you have the ability to defend yourself in the way that you see fit. We saw all these parents that were stuck outside the school. We saw a mother that was arrested who had to talk herself free and then work her way into the school to save her own children. This is unacceptable. These people are supposedly, according to the social contract that none of us ever signed, they are supposed to have the lethal authority that we talked about in a trade-off to defend us all. Instead, they would rather hem us up and do nothing while our children are killed. So
Yeah.
do not leave your self-defense or your right to self-defense or your ability, your protection up to the state.
Yeah. And hey, man, take a page from the leftists that are now saying that the Supreme Court is illegitimate. You know your rights. Use them.
That's right.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought.